How would you feel if I took away 2 years of your life? And what if I told you that 18,000 hours, 745 days, or 2 years of your life have gone by just on that small electronic device of yours? Yes, your phone. Shocking, I know, and this is the amount of time for a 17-year-old with a daily average of 7 hours on their phone. Now, show of hands, who has wanted to learn a new skill but just hasn't had the time? A lot of people. Well, did you know it takes 20 hours to learn a new skill? So with that time spent on your phone, you could have already learned 900 new skills. So is it really that you don't have enough time? Phones and social media play a huge role in the life of every teenager. What we don't know is that this time spent on our phone is only furthering the addiction we have to these devices. In fact, it is scientifically proven that when we pick up our phones, our brain releases a small amount of dopamine, the same effect a drug has on our brain. Hello everyone, my name is Anna Abel, and today I'm going to share with you how the screens and social media are negatively affecting us. Then I will share my personal experience and why I decided to unplug from the drug. I'm sure you've all seen famous photos like these, perfectly displaying how prevalent phones are in our world today. It seems that we never really appreciate what is right in front of us because we are blinded by the screens. Whether you're taking photos, answering texts, or checking social media, these are all small tasks we do throughout our days, but they add up. Did you know the average screen time for our age group is 7.5 hours a day? That's almost equivalent to the amount of sleep some of us get. Sadly, most of it is spent on social media. Let's look at the data of social media usage for teens. In a study of 9,800 teens, 84% used Instagram, 80% used Snapchat, and 69% used TikTok. But why is this even a problem? According to Laura Sanders, they recommend no more than 2 hours of recreational screen time on your phone. They advise at least an hour of exercise and between 9 to 11 hours of sleep. Only 5 in every of the surveyed children met these guidelines. That's 5%. I noticed the prevalence of screens and social media in our generation. I noticed friends sitting at a table on their phones instead of talking. I noticed people taking videos of an amazing memory instead of just enjoying it. And the bottom line is, I noticed the problem, which is why I took a step back to get this negativity out of my life. Being a teen myself, I know what it is like to have grown up in a world with screens and social media all around us. We all know the famous lines from our parents, well back in my day, but it's not our fault because we've grown up with them, and it's just part of our day-to-day lives. It's not until I stepped back that I realized how it was truly affecting me and many others. Over the semester, I wanted to reduce my stress by trying several healthy habits, one of these being a social media detox. I deleted all my social media apps in hopes I would last 2 weeks without them. To my surprise, I have not been on these apps for more than 5 minutes in the last few months because I saw how they truly affected me. And now I'm not turning back. To start, I watched a documentary called Social Dilemma. The documentary touches on the effects and algorithm behind the addiction. One of the interviewees in the documentary who worked for one of the social media apps brings up something called growth hackers. He says, and I quote, "Growth hackers, people whose jobs it is to hack people's psychology for more growth." So yes, we do have people manipulating us behind the screens, and we are all just pawns in the game of social media. Not only does it suck up our time, but there are many negative effects to social media. In a world with phones as our main communication, we often find ourselves feeling lonely. I mean, when's the last time you wrote a letter to someone? We are slowly losing connections, and it is affecting our happiness. We've all experienced this lack of connection during COVID, and maybe some have experienced something worse like anxiety or depression. Preventative medicine reports states among 14 to 17-year-olds, high users of screens are twice as likely to ever be diagnosed with depression, anxiety, treated by a professional, or taken medication for psychological or behavioral issues. Next, it creates a false sense of security because we're able to hide behind the screens. This can cause problems in school, work, and relationships. Let me give you an example. Say you're having a disagreement with a friend, but it's happening over text. It's a lot easier for both of you to hide your emotions or say mean things because you can hide behind the screen, and this only elevates the problem. It's caused our world to become a place with less personal connection, more loneliness, sadness, and miscommunications. There's also a decrease in social skills and learning abilities. Based on a study done about screen time, scientist Laura Sanders states kids who spend more time on screens perform worse on memory, language, and thinking tests. And we can see this all around us. Lastly, it creates a false sense of reality. With photoshopping, editing, and more, it makes us self-conscious of ourselves, our lives, and our looks, wondering, am I good enough? Or why can't I be like them? In reality, what we're seeing is really not the truth. Scientific America states disrupted sleep, lower life satisfaction, and poor self-esteem are all negative mental health consequences that research has linked to social media. Now here I am, a teen standing in front of a bunch of other teens, telling them their phone is an addiction. And some of you probably have heard that before, or you may already know that. But I'm not telling you to stop using your phone or to delete all your social media apps. Instead, I'm sharing the facts about how they are truly negatively affecting you, and you can do what you want with it. But just remember all the memories, or just think of all the memories that you could have made in those 2 years you missed out on. Thank you. Any questions? Yes.
First off, shout out to everybody in the room who's on their phone during that talk. You got through the point exactly. Second question, did you learn any new skills in that time? You mentioned that you learned new skills in 20 hours. Did you learn any new skills this semester?
That's kind of hard to. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I've definitely gone back to other hobbies that I haven't had time to do. Like for the Taylor Swift concert, I was able to sew Rachel's top for her, and I haven't sewed since COVID, so I definitely did some sewing and, like watch some movies and reading and stuff like that, stuff I wouldn't really have time for without, when I was on my phone, so. Any other questions?
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.